Welcome to Emerging Ease, where we will focus on unraveling the difficulties in the midst of our journey and move toward forward progress. This program is not meant to replace any form of therapy, and you are encouraged to seek out a mental health professional if necessary. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Keisha. I am so excited. Today is our very last show for 2021. We made it, y'all. We made it. Um, 2021 has been a challenge for many. It has been a time of positive changes, of negative stress, of positive stress. It's been a time for many of us to look at the things that we need to address in life, the things that we need to change, the things that we need to appreciate, even. With those changes, we have to be so thoughtful and mindful about what are we going to do as we enter 2022. Well, many of us have started making resolutions, and with those resolutions, we have put things on the table that we're like, hey, I'm going to reach the best, the highest, the most powerful goal for myself in this upcoming year, but we haven't identified, how to do that, what to do. So today that's what we're going to talk about, because hopefully whatever resolution you're making, or resolutions, we'll kind of address that too, you're making for 2022, it will be something that you're successful in, something that when you reach that goal, you won't have to go back and reattain it or readdress it in any way. It'll be checked off the box. So that's what our focus is today: how to identify the goals to set, how to get those set in a way that you can actually attain them. And then once you attain them, move forward, because you don't have to go back and recheck it or redo it or adjust anything. Um, I want to let you guys know, feel free to put any questions in the chat. If you ever want to reach out to me and ask questions that you aren't able to ask in the chat, feel free to email me at emergingease@gmail.com. Also, please look up Emerging Ease in Facebook groups and join. I put little tidbits in there all the time. My goal for 2022, one of my resolutions, is to put more questions, to get more interaction with those that are involved in the group. I think right now we have 100 and something or more members. I have to look at it again. Um, but yeah, feel free to join. Also, you can post responses to the questions in there, and you can also message me through Facebook. So those are ways to kind of reach out. Now, the thing with resolutions is you kind of have to look at what your mindset is currently with what a resolution is. Is a resolution just something that I say as of January 1st, this is my start date, and if it goes any further than that, then wonderful. If it doesn't, then fine. What do you identify as a resolution? Really, what a resolution is supposed to be is you are resolving or promising to make this change, to make this improvement, to make this difference in your life or the lives of others. So, with that being said, many of us may still use it, but at least I grew up with it, where people say, well, my word is bond. That's what you're saying to yourself. I give myself this bond that this promise I'm making is going to make a difference in my life. This promise I'm making is going to be one that gives me a new outlook, a new step forward, something different for myself. Okay. So that's what a resolution is supposed to be. Um, Now, in your resolutions, let's look at some of the basic things. Sometimes people resolve to do better with their finances. Of course, I haven't looked it up. I haven't done the research, but I really believe in my heart that the number one resolution is, oh, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to go work out. Because if you remember, like I've seen it, I'm sure you all have too. People will go flock to the gym for that first 4 weeks of the year, and you can't get on an elliptical, you can't get on the treadmill, you can do absolutely nothing. From open to close, the gym is just packed, packed, packed. Maybe it'll be different with COVID going on this year, but we don't know. And then chucks into the second week of February, crickets again. People done fell off. Oh, I went and ate bad. I missed my workout on Wednesday, so I can't finish my goal. So we're gonna start talking about that, ways to stop self-sabotaging is what it is. Um, with the goals that you set, first and foremost, something that I came across, because I'm always reading and researching and wondering why. So that's one of my big things. I came across this article and I printed it out for myself so I could make sure and reference it properly. And it said something that really stood out to me. One of the things is understand why you shouldn't or should not, just to be clear, make a change. So let's say if one of your areas is let's just put physical health out there, because I know many of us may put that on there. So why should you not change your mental health? What do you get from staying in the same place you are right now? I was like, oh my gosh, that kind of blows your mind, because we always say, well, if I lose weight, I can get back into these clothes I've had since the 1990s, which they're out of style. Let them go. Or I can feel more secure about myself if I don't have this extra weight on me. Um, I'll feel like my life longevity is better if I don't have this excess weight on me. But we don't really ever sit down and say, if I don't lose this weight, what do I get from that? Because really, if we think about it, that's the thing that causes us to break those promises. That's the thing that causes us to stop at our resolution. The what we get for not changing. So the thing is, and I'm still stay kind of on the weight thing, because it's kind of easier to get a picture of it. If you don't go to the gym, it means I don't have to get up early in the morning, because some of these workouts start at 5 a.m. Some are 4 a.m. Y'all are dedicated for the 4 a.m.ers. I don't have to be out in the cold. I don't have to be around people. I don't have to be out here sweating. I don't like to sweat. All kinds of reasons, that are really, in a sense, a reward for us if we don't change. I don't have to worry about someone giving trying to figure out new clothes to wear. I've heard someone say, hey, if I don't lose weight, I don't have to go shopping. I don't have to go get a whole new wardrobe. I'm like, that is probably not a reason that I will hear a lot ever again. But I mean, it's a reason. Have to be mindful about that. And so, in our reasoning of why we should not change, what are you gaining? Even another thing to look at this, can give everyone like a mental picture of, with finances. You say, hey, I want to start saving. If you don't start saving, what do you get? Well, hey, I have extra $20 here and there. I can always spend on what I want. I can splurge on this. I can go pay for this. A friend of mine told me there's $5 cruise offers now, and go get me a couple of $5 cruises. Go, splurge, take a couple of hundred with me, splurge on my excursions, and shoot, just enjoy life. But at the end of the year, you'll still have nothing in your savings account. And God forbid an emergency comes up, or a change of employment or income in your household changes. You have nothing to fall back on, because you've looked more at, what do I get in the right now versus what's the long term. And many times we don't realize, in our planning and our thinking, I won't even call it planning yet, because we're going to talk about planning, but in our thinking about what our resolutions, what our resolves, what our promises are to ourselves, we don't really ever look at, what do I have to do different? And how uncomfortable will I have to be? Is that discomfort going to cause me to not really be successful? Is that going to cause me to say, you know what, I really don't need this? Because the minute you have to think between, oh shoot, I got $100, I can go buy a pair of shoes at an outlet, or I can save it and get some interest. And that interest may be, a couple of cents here and there in every few months. But what will that look like in 5 years? What will that look like in 10 years? Because so much of our time in today's society is focusing on the here and now. So we have to be mindful that when we're putting these resolutions together, to start thinking about, what do I get if I don't change this? How much is that going to outweigh what I see in the future? Because the other thing too is, and that's why it was mind blowing to me, because I sat with this for a while and I was like, oh my gosh, it was kind of like, little explosions going off in my thoughts. I was like, if you look at the here and now, the rewards and the possible rewards that have not come to fruition yet from making the change, the ones in the here and now are so much stronger because you're able to touch them right now. You've seen them, you've seen the outcome. You haven't seen this. This is the unknown. And the unknown scares so many of us. Heck, it scares me too. And so to be able to also challenge the fear or the disbelief that this new thing is possible for you. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I could go on for like 2 hours, but I know LA wouldn't allow that. With just the tangible of now and the unknown of the future. Oh my gosh, that's so deep, so deep. But think about that when you're identifying your resolutions. Also, please don't give yourself 27 resolutions. I honestly encourage people, make the fewest, most impactful choices to change as you can at a time. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Meaning, when you're choosing to change, what are the top 2 to 3 areas of your life that you want to improve? Why is it important to improve those areas for you? Not for anybody else, for you. Why is it important for those changes to occur within whatever time frame? We'll talk about time frames in a minute. What will that mean for you? Okay. Sometimes people even put together vision boards, which I strongly encourage people to do, because it's one thing to write something down or to think, oh, I'm going to do better with my eating. If you're just thinking it, guess what? Thoughts disappear into wherever you store it. Thoughts can be adjusted and reformed and everything. And next thing you know, the where you started at does not look at like what you ended at. So being mindful to in your choices, what those impacts are going to be. So write them down. But a vision, at the very least, write them down. But a vision board gives you the pictures. It gives you what the future looks like. It gives you something to hold on to. I know even for me, when I developed my own vision board and I put the pictures up there, I was like, okay, I can envision myself in this picture working out, because I chose somebody that looks like me, that does something that I feel like I can do. I didn't choose Flojo running, because I'm never gonna be that fast. I don't enjoy running at all. um, and I chose something that was the feasible for my mind to say, you know what, I got that. I can do that. I've I've gotten closer to that, so it's possible for me. All right, so during this time, we're going to take a short break um, and listen to the advertisement that is going to be filling that time. Also, I want you to tune in to Whisper Softly, which it airs Sunday through Friday on the Batchelor News Radio Network from 8 p.m. until midnight. Whisper Softly is amazing. Also, tune in on Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time to listen to the featured artist.
I know they're looking. Everyone's staring.
A scab from a cold sore is so embarrassing, you feel like everyone notices. Get new Campho-Phenique cold sore treatment for scab relief. The only one targeted for the scab, the worst part of a cold sore. Its special formula provides maximum strength pain relief. Plus, it seals in moisture to help prevent cracking, to promote healing. So now, you'll be noticed for other things.
Nice haircut, Lisa.
Campho-Phenique stops pain, promotes healing, ends embarrassment.
If you've got a clogged up nose, simply stuffy. If you've got a snuffly nose, simply stuffy. If the rest of you feel fine, but your nose is out of line, give your schnozzle what it needs, simply stuffy.
Simply Stuffy. From the makers of Children's Tylenol. It has only the medicine your child needs to make a stuffy nose simply disappear.
If you want to smell a rose, get the stuff out of your nose. If you're sick of feeling snotty, simply stuffy.
Simply Stuffy. Use as directed.
All right. That's kind of catchy. Simply Stuffy. Okay, so we're talking about New Year's resolutions, how to get to a new you and make it stick. So I want to move forward and let's talk about learning from the past. Learning from the past resolutions that you've made. Think about all the resolutions that were successful, all the resolutions that were not successful. And the ones that were successful, what was it that helped you be more successful with those versus the ones that were unsuccessful? Um, Yet again, I'll go back to the top two that many people make is finances and weight. So as far as with finances in the past, if you said, hey, I want to save this certain amount by the end of the year before the new year next year, and that was not successfully done, what was it that stood in the way? What was it that kept you from reaching that? Was it, hey, I need more income coming in, and you weren't able to actually do something to change your income or add to your income at the time? Was it, hey, a big, huge emergency came up, medical bills came up, so therefore I wasn't able to reach that? Now, when you're identifying the things that were obstacles, look at where you are here and now. Are those obstacles still in play? Also, is there anything you can do in the here and now to overcome those obstacles or even lessen their impact? So let's say, just to give a round number, you wanted to save $1,000 by January 1st of next year. So through the whole year of 2022, you want to save $1,000 by the end of the year. And you said, well, before when I attempted that, I wasn't able to do it. But I actually was able to save $200. So then look at, if I was able to save this amount, which is a little bit smaller, or a lot of bit smaller than my 1,000, what's different now that I can now possibly reach that 1,000? Or give yourself something that's attainable that even you could overproduce on. So if you say, you know what, I think 1,000 is possible, but I know for sure I can save 500 by the end of the year. Do that. Focus on that. And even when you hit that 500, let's say you hit that 500 in May, you say 500, you're like, ooh, I did it. Don't stop there. Keep going. Now the challenge is not just, hey, I want to save that 500, but how much more can I save? Okay. So look at it like that. Set a goal that you can actually attain. I encourage people to think about what can you attain in the first 3 months of the year, because those first 3 months are the most motivating months of the year, because we're coming out of winter, we're going into spring. The newness of the year is still there. All the possibility of what's this year going to bring is still there. So you're still very optimistic. Okay. And that optimism, do something that you can say, okay, in this first 3 months, I can save $150. I can save $400. And then when you attain that, that's time for celebration. Now, don't go out and spend the money you just saved, though, but celebrate. Do something for yourself to say, okay, I did that. Even if you put a Facebook post up, and many of us do it, so don't act like you don't. I got a portion of my goal accomplished. I got this part of my goal accomplished that I set for this first 3 months. All your friends and some of your haters on Facebook will celebrate you. And then next thing you know, you're working with yourself to outdo what you've done before. Okay. Because that gives you more momentum because you know, I've attained this part. I got this next part. That ain't nothing. As far as the weight thing, one thing that I find as ironic is many times when people find themselves like they start to work to lose weight. Now, initially, you're working, you feel like, dang, my body's not responding. I'm not necessarily, I don't feel like I'm building muscle. I don't feel like I'm losing fat. The scale is actually going the wrong way. I'm eating better. I don't see any changes. But the minute you lose 5 to 10 pounds, the first thing you do is, I need to celebrate. And what do we celebrate with? I'm going to take time off from the gym and I'm going to go eat something real horrible. Now you are back to square one. Okay. And the thing is, don't feel like you're alone because I've done it too several times. Okay. The thing is to find another way than what it was that got you into that position before to celebrate. Just like in giving the example about money, don't then say, well, hey, I saved $500. Now I need to go shopping. That's not how you save money. Just like, hey, I've lost 10 pounds. I need to go celebrate with a dinner at, some Mexican restaurant with all the extra fried, sauteed everything and tortillas. So don't do that to yourself. Find another way to celebrate, to acknowledge yourself. But make sure you do acknowledge yourself in your planning. Now, in your goal setting, when I was saying earlier, set 2 to 3 goals that you want. Preferably, if they're in the same area of your life, like for instance, if it's a health area of your life and you say, I need to improve my health, what 2 to 3 goals do you want in that area? And focus on those 2 to 3. If it's financial, what 2 to 3 goals do you want in that area? If it's spiritual, what are those 2 to 3 goals? Whatever mental, emotional, physical area of your life that you want to improve. Even if you say, hey, I want to be prepared to enter into a relationship. Well, what 2 to 3 goals do you need to set for yourself to be a better partner for whoever it is that you may get to meet in this upcoming year? So even in that, to think about what does that look like for you. Also, start thinking about breaking things down in chunks. Don't say, well, this time next year, because there is 364 days between now and this time next year. That every challenge, every obstacle possible, every hey, let me take a minute and take a break, take a breather, could possibly come up to keep you from getting that. So when we use shorter periods of time, especially like maybe, check in with yourself every 2 weeks, check in with yourself every 30 days, depending on how your goal is, what it is, and how big it is. But chunk up that time and do something to then acknowledge what was done in that time. So write it down. I encourage people to write a journal. If you don't want the pen to paper, use your phone. Everybody's phone at this point in time has some type of note taking feature. Send a note to yourself. Put it on your calendar. This is my check in. I got this accomplished. I got this accomplished. This part right here was a slowdown or a setback. This is what I'm going to do to get past that. Because the other thing that journal does is, let's say you give yourself every 2 weeks, you get 20 weeks into the year, you can now look back and say, okay, I accomplished that. Because at 20 weeks, you could be so frustrated, so frustrated, and wonder, well, dang it, I'm not getting anywhere. But when you're able to look back and say, okay, 2 weeks in, I did this, 4 weeks in, I did that, 10 weeks in, I did that. Okay, and you got your refocus. So be really, really mindful of how you set your goals and chunk your time into something that you're able to do. With journaling, some people say, "Oh, I don't like writing." That's why I encourage you don't have to do it every day, because every day you might not have a change to write down. And the last thing you want to do is fill out a change, nothing, 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 a change, nothing, 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 and then it kind of when you go back to look, you're like, this is not working. But if you start to chunk it into those maybe 2 weeks periods, 30-day periods, and you can go back and say, oh, shucks, okay, okay, I'm making progress. I see it. Because the irony is, many of us are visual people and we don't realize it. I say many of us because that means all of us. Um, Many times it's just given to men that, oh well, men are visual. Everything they need to have the visual. Women do too. We need to have the visual. And the thing is, we need to be mindful of what what we take from that visual and what we put into that visual. Okay. Now we have today and tomorrow to decide what our start to 2022 is going to look like. Take this time that we have. Many of us may be off tomorrow of our regular jobs. Take that time and sit and think, what do you want for yourself that's different? What area of your life do you want to focus on? Totally up to you. I encourage people to do this, and not just on January 1st, but all the time. Take time to just be with yourself, by yourself, and identify, what do I want to do for myself in this time to improve? What area? Because we are all works in progress. All of us are. And we all deserve the ability and the time and the space to identify what changes can be made, what changes need to be made, and to move forward in making them. There's absolutely no reason, regardless of your age, to stagnate and just say, well, I'm comfortable. I'll just sit here and I'll just stay in this and I won't make any changes. That's absolutely, for lack of better words, a waste of time and a waste of self, because now you never get to ever learn what's new, what's what other abilities you actually have if you don't ever challenge yourself. Okay, so thinking about that, think about it, plan it, figure it out. Get on Google, because we all, in some way, shape, or form, have access to Google. You're online listening to me now. Google it. Find out what you need to find for yourself. Figure out what new ways you can possibly even celebrate. Um, Also, if you're saying, well, this could possibly be a difficulty for me, start to think through why you feel it would be a difficulty, because nothing's impossible. I always tell people nothing's impossible. The way we approach it can make it very difficult. The limits that we put on ourselves can make it nearly impossible, but nothing is impossible. Okay. And so, and also look at the limits that you're putting on yourself. If you're telling yourself, for instance, to give you a picture of the workout portion, hey, I want to lose 40 pounds by June. But you say, I'm not getting up to go anywhere and work out at 5. I got to be at work at 8. I'm not going to go walk or do anything active on my lunch. I sit all day at work. I'm not going to figure out a way to put in any movement in my work. I'm not going to put any reminders in my calendar to say, hey, get up and move. Hey, order lunch from a place that's healthy and clean and non-fried food and all of that. I'm not going to avoid situations that could trigger me to want to overeat. I'm not going to avoid foods that are full of sugar, fat, starch, whatever is your weakness. If you're setting yourself up and self-sabotaging yourself, um, that's going to be something that then gets set in your mind that I cannot do anything. All right. So with that, I want to wish you all an early and happy new year. I pray that you all are listening to the first show that we do in 2022. Wish you guys the best. And we will continue to emerge as new people. See y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for taking such a time as this to participate in your personal improvement with emerging ease. I'm Keisha, your host. Remember that in everything, there's an opportunity to learn and grow. If you are experiencing a difficult time, please reach out to the National Crisis Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. And I look forward to hearing from you next week on Emerging Ease with Keisha.